As an NWSL fan, I think you can make the case that Ally Sentnor has been overshadowed by a certain Spirit rookie. But here's the thing. Sentnor has an amazing shot. She has fantastic footwork, and she'll use it to burn you from really tight spaces. And the last athlete I saw look this comfortable shooting from downtown was Caitlin Clark. I'm Bridie, and in this video, I'm going to analyze clips from 6 different Utah Royals games to prove to you that the stats truly do not matter because Ally Sentnor is as complete of a player as they come. Let's get into it. First thing I want to look at for Sentnor is how she manages possession, and a lot of this she does through collecting loose balls and forcing interceptions. She's going to be number 9 in yellow here, and this is a really simple play. It's just a read and react. She just runs onto that faster than the opposition. And this seems to be something that she does a lot, hanging out over here. Huge, vast pocket of space in front of her, but it doesn't really matter because she's quick and attentive. And, very quickly creates an opportunity for her team there out of that. This one, she's off screen. There you go, coming in up top. And again, just turns on the jets, goes to collect that ball, makes things happen for her team. I'm going to fast forward through the sequence here, but she is a pest. And what do I mean by a pest? Well, she's not even on screen right now. LA desperately trying to play out of the back, and here she is, but boop. This girl didn't even know she was there. Had no idea. So she's very effective at making things happen and just collects a lot of balls. Another thing Sentnor does to manage possession, I think she's revived the lost art of tackling, and it's a little bit of magic to watch, honestly. This is her out here. And she just is so comfortable taking the ball off someone's foot. It doesn't need to be done, but I guess if you can, why not? And that's Trinity Rodman on the ball, not a bad player by any means, and again, just gets the foot in there and wins the ball. So I don't see this a lot anymore, certainly not for midfielders or forwards, but what an ability to bring to your team. When she's not winning the ball, we want to think about receiving. How is her first touch for that? And I gotta be honest, I think it's pretty flippin' fantastic. Here she is, far post, uses her right foot to really put that down in a very gentle way so she can play right onto it. This one, far post again, but this is with her left foot, and I really don't see any drop-off between the left and the right foot, which is incredible, abnormal. This one, she's over here, and I really like how kind of just uses the first touch to escape there, creating a little bit of room for herself. And then same thing here, she's going to have a player on her, but uses that first touch to get away, get a shot off. And I love this one. She's going forwards, brings that down while in stride. Absolutely fantastic. You can't ask for anything better than that. This is a player that is really happy to receive the ball anywhere on the pitch. Long ball, high ball, hard ball, doesn't matter. She has the touch to go with it. Now we're getting to more of the bread and butter of Sentnor's games. A lot of analysts have written about her ability to dribble. What really gets me is how she is drawn into congestion. It really just doesn't bother her. Here she is. And she's just going to go right back to where the opposition is. It's baffling. It's not what you're expecting as an opponent to have that player drive at where the congestion is. This is her, a little bit of a give and go. And kind of same story, people bite down on her, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go in towards Bethune. There she is. I'm going to do another give and go just to open things up a little. And you think from here that, okay, maybe she's going to drive with this way, right? Because we got 1, 2, 3, 4, but it just does not bother her at all. And she scores. It becomes very difficult to defend because you're not expecting it. Maybe you are to some extent, and then you start trying to cover that and not drive inwards. It's baffling. Similar thing here. It does not put her off seeing players. It's like she's drawn to them instead of drawn away from them, and you get an assist out of that. So if Utah could just get her the ball a little bit more often in the attacking third, I think we'd see a lot more production out of her, whether it's assists or goals. The reason I'm so confident the goals will come is because her shot technique is phenomenal. It is amazing what she does to generate power. If you see her in person, I think one of the first things you're going to notice is she does not have legs. She has drive gears. Her lower body looks completely mechanical. And we can see here, if we break down the mechanics, she is very, very low. This is a very deep squat. The other thing she's doing is right before she shoots, all her weight goes onto this left leg and she bends as much as she can. Look at the angle of that leg. That ankle almost rolls. And the reason she does that is instead of just going straight through the ball, it gives her more room to swing on it. It allows her to generate a lot more power. And we'll see when she does her follow through, right? Almost 4 steps there because it is so flippin' powerful. We're used to seeing players follow through forwards, not Sentnor, right? She's focused on swinging sideways. Look at that. That's another good close-up here. So big foot plant, and then we see how high this pendulum foot gets. And again, it's not just going straight through, it's wrapping around and then going through it. So it's got a lot of time to generate power. Very impressive shot. She gets a lot of distance out of it. Now, the only thing is, I think this technique comes with a couple risks. I do not think that's how that set piece was supposed to go. I think what happens is she slips because you can see it almost looks like that foot turned over. She has no follow through this time. It's like she's catching herself. So this whole technique is kind of built towards generating maximum power, and you have to get yourself perfectly positioned, get your mechanics super well squared away to make this work. And, the risk is on occasion, maybe 1 out of 100 times you do it, you're just going to straight up slip or not be able to generate that power because you got mechanics a tiny bit off. I think that's worth it. I think that is very much worth it. Sentnor is also able to use her shot technique to pull off some really impressive long passes. And in general, just her mid to long passing is very good. So here she is with the ball now. They've struggled to move anywhere. Doesn't matter. Sent it halfway across the pitch, very accurately, mind you. This one, she's out here, and when the ball's going to get to her, there's not really any passing options, so nice little chip cross, almost. This time she's up high. Wanted the ball, but didn't really see the option she was looking for, so why not just full field switch that ball? What an incredible ball to play. I'm going to take a minute just to talk about first touch, because look at this. Player's out here, and ball goes all the way out there. Could be over here, could be chasing it that way, but no, we're chasing it backwards. So you can see how incredible a player with a good first touch on your team can be. It can really change a lot. I think Sentnor also has some really lovely through passing. That one there is just so sneaky. Here she is again. And this one's on the left foot this time. We don't need to talk about the cleats. That's a problem she needs to discuss with her agent. And then this one, just hanging out here, watching everything go. Great hustle once she sees the play move. I mean, I'm sorry, that acceleration is unreal. And then I'm going to call this a through ball because it skips through a few people, but nice little assist. We've seen a lot of fantastic things, but everybody has something they could work on. The biggest one for me with Ally Sentnor is the short passing. And it's not that she can't deliver a short pass. She absolutely can. I just think she has a bad habit of running into congestion, freaking out, and then sending a kind of crappy pass to someone. And it's not like this is happening so many times in a game that I think it's not worth her dribbling. But it's just sometimes she's so aggressive about moving into these spaces that I just think she's forgetting about the next step and what's going to happen after that if she can't beat the defenders. So similar thing here. I do really love that, she's getting like 3 people sucked in tight on her. This is great. Look at the space we're vacating. But you got to think about where the space is vacated. You're vacating space behind you. It's not that helpful. And to get this ball to this player, it's going to have to teleport through her right shin. It's just not happening. So I think sometimes her decision-making is just a little bit clouded by wanting to dribble and kind of forgetting about what could go wrong. Similar story here, just a bit of a lazy dump. And again, this is not such a bad problem that I want her to stop dribbling. I think once she has a bit more game recognition in the NWSL And once she has a bit better chemistry with her teammates, I expect to see this cleared up. Another thing I'd like to see cleaned up, sometimes I feel like Sentnor's a bit guilty of ball watching and walking when she's supposed to be repositioning. So here she is, and she's going to get set in a position that she thinks is good, and because of that, she just doesn't move, doesn't react to that ball that looks very winnable. This one is a longer play, but I want you to just follow her movement because this is going to show a good defensive transition. Well, good. Good is the imperative word here. But here we go. So it's a quick transitional chance from North Carolina. And this is going to require good recovery from all of the Utah players. So second opportunity there, a third opportunity there, a fourth opportunity there. But crucially, I only see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Utah players. 2 of them are still out of frame. What in God's name are they doing? Okay, here's a different angle. Sentnor's here. Doesn't really look to be sprinting. I would call that jogging, certainly not running. There's a second opportunity, and we're going to cut off a little bit before the third opportunity, but she has not made it very far in that time. And this is where I struggle critiquing because I feel like this is probably more of a Utah issue than a Sentnor issue. I think they're trying to leave 2 players high for a transitional chance, which is silly to me. Just leave one of them, especially if you think Sentnor's that good, then just leave one and pull this player down. And I think you can almost see why she's in that spot. Like when she's recovering, she actually comes wider on purpose instead of coming straight down. And I think it's because Utah want her to run up this channel here, across, and shoot. I get it, but it's just not working for me. This time she's over here, and look, that's walking. And I get why she's doing it, because the ball's in the air. She doesn't know who's going to have it, so she's walking. But as soon as she realizes her player has it, it's like, oop, let's hurry up and let's get there. It's too late, though. Because if you're this player, you're making a decision right now, and you do not have 5 business days to make a decision. So when you were looking, there was nothing there, so you're going to release it. It's a crappy shot. It's a waste of a ball, but it happened. I'm going to keep with this play. We'll just fast forward it because we're going to see kind of the same thing here. A little bit of walking. We're going to see our other players start jogging, but she's still walking. And then she's going to get kind of stuck in the mud again. She adjusts a little bit, but she really likes that space. She won't vacate it. Okay, but here's the thing. I think right about now, you're going to see a massive change in how she's positioning. Look at that. She literally just turns on the gears. This is fantastic here. Just slows Rodman down for half a second to let these players get 2 extra steps in and get kind of almost back in position. So I don't think this is a player that you can look at and say, oh, that's a lazy, low-effort player, because this is some insane hustle. And that little slowdown on Rodman there really could be the difference between this going in or not. So I just don't think she's a lazy player. I think it's an issue of how Utah's using her. And I mean, you tell me, because look at this play. I don't think this is a play a lazy player makes. I think that's an incredibly heads-up play to get around the player, win that ball. And also, can you look at the time? It is 93 minutes in. So that's not laziness at all. It's baffling to me. So I don't think she's a lazy player. I think she's a very intelligent player that conserves her energy well, picks her moment. Would I like to see a little bit of improvement on the ball watching? Yes, but I don't think the positioning or the lack of hustle to get into a position is a her issue. I think that's a Utah issue. Even if you think some of the things we just looked at are truly Sentnor issues instead of Utah issues, the main reason you want this girl on your team is she generates so much offense single-handedly. So 36:54 on the clock. Here she is out here and going to start combining a lot of the fantastic things we've seen. It's a great dribble into players. I love what she does here. Instead of that dump, she pauses, looks at her options, and then sends it out for a corner. So this is one of the later games I analyzed, and it was nice to see that trend maybe changing a little bit. Able to take the corner herself. And this one comes right back to her, and that's fine because she's just going to dribble in, drive, great drive, wins another corner. And they're going to send her off to go take it again with that magic right foot. Different call this time. Different ball. A very nice ball. And so that's the thing. When we look at the clock, it's been over a minute. So for my hockey fans, this looked like a power play to me. I just don't see a single player able to continually generate offense the way she does. It's really something to watch. I was really impressed when pulling together this film study. I do not watch any college soccer currently, so I was not familiar with Ally Sentnor. This is the first I'd seen of her. Really fantastic, well-rounded player, and it got me wondering, when are we going to see her with the women's national team? Good thing is she's played with the youth national team. She's already in the system. They're familiar with her and probably very much looking forward to calling her up to the senior squad. When do I think that's going to be? I'm going to go ahead and say 2026, and I say that because Utah sucks. Utah really stink right now. I made a video after they won one game, the only game that they've won. I thought they looked great. If I can figure out how to link the video that will embarrass myself, I will do so here. But that game was a complete statistical anomaly for Utah. They played in a low block, they played very compact, and they just have not looked like that the entire rest of the season. So I question, if she's the most talented player on that squad, who is she learning from? If it's a tactical system that isn't making sense, what tactics is she learning? I don't know. It's something I'm a little bit worried about. Now, that being said, apparently Sentnor did play as a midfielder in college, and I do think the U.S. is a little bit starved of midfielders and defenders right now. So I'm going to put a little bit of an asterisk next to this 2026 and say that's as a forward, but potentially she could get called in a little bit early as a midfielder. And like any other player, that experience is going to be fantastic for her and maybe supplement some of what she's not getting at the club level. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you for the next one.